Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Pet Behaviour Chat. I'm so excited to finally be getting this podcast underway. It's something I've been thinking about for a long time. It's been a real passion project of mine, and I'm so excited to finally welcome you to episode 1. So what are we going to talk about in episode 1? Well, I thought I would introduce myself to everybody. I thought I'd give you a little mini rundown of my career. I also want to tell you about my residency in behavior medicine and basically what got me here. We're also going to be talking about what you can expect from the podcast, and we'll talk a little bit about the types of animals and the species we're going to be talking about. And then finally, at the end, I just want to have a chat about community and how important sort of the pet-loving community and the veterinary communities are to me, and how I'm hoping that this podcast can support everybody. Alrighty, so here goes. My name is Dr. Katrin Jahn. I'm a veterinarian. I've been a vet for over 20 years now, actually almost 25, not quite, but almost. And I'm also in the process of specializing to become a specialist in veterinary behavior medicine. And I'll talk a little bit about the residency in just a second. But first of all, a bit about my journey as a vet. So I graduated from the University of Munich in Germany in 1999. I had a great time at university. I absolutely loved the course. And then after I finished, I decided to move to the UK, and I did an internship in small animal medicine at the Animal Health Trust, which was also amazing. I then moved around the UK a little bit and spent some time in various general practices, just started seeing some general practice cases. And then I moved to the University of Liverpool, where I was an anesthesia intern for 1 year. So my other huge love, aside from behavior medicine, is anesthesia and also pain management in animals. And you'll hear throughout the course of the podcast quite how sort of synergistic and complementary those two areas are. You kind of wouldn't think it, but it's all to do with brain health, with what happens in the brain. And behavior medicine and anesthesia and pain management really go hand in hand quite nicely in regard to that. So after I finished at Liverpool, I got slightly itchy feet and I started looking overseas for exciting job opportunities elsewhere. And I found quite a few different jobs, but the one that spoke to me the most was actually a job advert for a veterinary clinic in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. So I went there initially as a 3-month trial period. And literally the moment I got to Abu Dhabi, I absolutely fell in love with the city and with the country. And so I decided to open my own veterinary clinic in 2008 in Abu Dhabi. So I have a bricks and mortar veterinary clinic, which is called the German Veterinary Clinic. So I've been a practice owner for 15 years now. And we're a really good standard general practice. We do everything. And we have a couple of sort of special accolades as well. Which I'll talk about in just a second. So throughout the course of being a GP vet, one of the things I really noticed is that we're really good as a veterinary profession at taking care of the physical health of our pets and our animals, but we're not so great at taking care of their mental and emotional health. So that's something I really wanted to further and look into more. And one of the first steps that I took in this direction was actually becoming the first gold standard cat-friendly clinic in the Middle East. So the cat-friendly clinic scheme is run by the ISFM, which is the International Society for Feline Medicine. And as a cat-friendly clinic, you have to fulfill a number of different requirements. So the clinic has to be set up in a certain way. So we have separate waiting areas for cats. We have separate hospitalization areas for cats. We have a number of different sort of equipment items that are specific to feline care. But most importantly, our whole team is very, very aware of the special needs of our feline patients and the fact that cats are really quite different to dogs and that they have their own sort of special requirements. So we became cat-friendly in 2014. And I think it took us a couple of years to kind of really get on board with the philosophy and the ethos. It takes a little bit of a mindset shift. So I think over the next few years, we started to improve things a lot, and we thought about things a lot, and we implemented a lot of things. And all of a sudden, we started to see what a massive impact all of these cat-friendly techniques had on our feline patients. We saw how much better they were doing in the hospital, how much more quickly they were getting better. We saw quicker recovery times, and we saw a massive influence on actual clinical outcome. And so we thought, we don't want to restrict this just to our feline patients. We want all animals that walk through our doors to have a similar experience. And so in 2018, 2019, we embarked on the Fear-Free journey. So Fear-Free is a system that comes from the US, and it looks at very similar things: how to improve stress and how to improve patient experience when they're in the veterinary setting. And so we started to apply these methods to our canine patients as well as our feline patients. And again, we saw such a massive change, and also the effect that it had on the team and how we were working with our patients and how we were all enjoying our jobs much, much more. So that got me really thinking more into behavior medicine, I guess, and into sort of mental and emotional health. And I started to look into how I could educate myself further and how I could learn even more. And that's when I happened upon the residency. So residencies are specialization programs. You can do residencies in many different disciplines. So you can do a residency in neurology, in surgery, in internal medicine, in ophthalmology, in all the different sort of areas of veterinary medicine. And they are essentially a 3 to 5 year specialization program, depending on where you do it, where you spend the majority, if not all, of your time working in that particular discipline and that particular field. Now, usually residencies are conducted at either university hospitals or large referral hospitals. And that means you are there, you're working in that one place for that period of time to really learn your craft, and you see only those cases, and you're supervised by already boarded specialists in that area. And of course, with my clinic in Abu Dhabi, I didn't really want to leave for that long a period. And what I found was that with veterinary behavior medicine, and now more and more with other disciplines as well, I could do what's called a non-traditional or a non-conforming residency, where basically I can stay in my own practice and see cases in my own practice whilst being supervised by, in my case, 2 incredible mentors / supervisors in the field. So at the beginning of the residency, I had to design my own program, which means I had to meet a certain set of requirements. There are some mandatory modules that I have to fulfill, and there are some optional modules that I can do. And the whole program has to be supervised by already board certified specialists. So I have 2. One is Dr. Teresa DePorter, who's based in the US, and the other is Dr. Kirsty Sexel, who's based in Australia. And I discuss all my clinical cases with them, and they also help guide me through the rest of my residency program. So amongst the requirements for the residency, I have to see 400 clinical behavior cases. So just this morning, I saw case number 396, so I'm almost done. And I have to say that seeing the clinical behavior cases is really what has taught me behavior medicine. I, at the end of the day, am a clinician through and through. That's what I've been doing for the last 20 years. And seeing these highly complex cases has really helped me to understand behavior medicine and to understand the whole process that goes into it. And I've said on so many occasions that behavior cases, or the behavior cases that I've seen in the last couple of years, are amongst the most complex cases that I've seen throughout my whole career, just because of the fact that so often we do have physical disease impacting behavior. And also we have these ever-changing dynamics. Behavior is always fluid, and we always have a different configuration of what is that pet's early life experiences, what have their learning experiences been like, and also what is their environmental situation, what kind of household and home do they live in, who are their social contacts, do they live with other animals, do they live perhaps just with one single person or with a family with lots of children. So all of those differences can affect obviously the behavior cases and the treatment plans for those cases. And no 2 cases are ever the same, and we really have to treat every single one as an individual case, which I absolutely love. So I would say, yeah, those 400 behavior cases have really taught me behavior medicine. And I'm going to be completely honest and say that I would say in the first 100 cases that I saw, I was absolutely rubbish at it. It took a little while to really get embedded into the way of thinking about behavior cases. I do have to mention that my first 25 cases were done under direct supervision. So that means I saw those directly with Teresa or with Kirsty, either in the US or in Australia. And then the subsequent cases after that, I've all been the primary vet and the primary responsible vet for those. But yeah, first 100 cases, tricky. Next 100 cases, getting better. But I'd say probably only the last sort of 200 cases, maybe even only the last 100 cases, to be honest, is where I found really the big success stories, the massive turnarounds, the big impacts, the quick wins, and then also the longer term wins. So yeah, it does take some time and some exposure and seeing case after case after case to get to a point where you feel really confident with what you're doing. So that's a little bit about the behavior residency, and that's how I got here. So I really want to share what I've learned with communities across the world, whether those are pet parent communities or veterinary communities, vets or vet nurses, and also other pet care professionals, whether that's trainers or non-veterinary behaviorists, groomers, anybody really who comes into contact with pets, because behavior is always relevant and behavior is always something that we need to take into consideration. So that is how the Pet Behaviour Chat evolved. I also want to just quickly tell you a little bit about my businesses. So as I've mentioned, I have a bricks and mortar veterinary clinic. We're now a team of 30, which includes 5 vets plus myself, and then a whole host of other team members. And as I said, we're a really high standard general practice here in the UAE. We do have some special areas of interest. So neurology, I have one vet who's really interested in neurology. And then with the behavior services that we offer, that ties in really nicely because, again, it's all to do with brain health. And we have a lot of cases that we actually collaborate on. So that is the German Veterinary Clinic. And then my second business is called Trinity Veterinary Behavior. And this is a purely online business. And it was established to be a global veterinary behavior business. I really wanted to spread the word about veterinary behavior medicine. And I also wanted to be able to offer tools and resources worldwide, really, to the rest of the globe. So I will be talking a lot about Trinity. Trinity's quite young still. So Trinity's only about a year old. And with the residency and everything else going on, I haven't been able to dedicate as much time to Trinity. However, I'm looking to grow Trinity in a big way in the next years. And that's where this podcast plays in a little bit as well. So the podcast is going to be linked to that online business and really everything that we can do within that space. Okay. So who's the podcast for and what are we going to be talking about? Well, who it's for, I've really just mentioned already. It's for anybody that's interested in pet behavior, whether you are a pet parent and you're maybe struggling with your pet's behavioral issues. Maybe we have a behavior problem and you're struggling to get on top of that. Or if you have questions around behavior medications or psychopharmaceuticals, as a veterinary behaviorist, I'm in a unique position to advise on those things and make recommendations for medications. Or whether you're a vet or a veterinary nurse and you would love to know more about how you can positively impact your patients in practice, or how you could potentially incorporate perhaps seeing some behavior cases into your practice. I would love to help and support on those things. Or if you are a trainer or another member of the pet care team and you have questions surrounding behavior and how we as veterinary behaviorists can help and support you, that's what this podcast, as well as the business of Trinity Veterinary Behavior, is all about. And finally, I wanted to kind of touch on the community that I'm hoping to build here. So it's really important to me that you let me know what it is that you want to hear. What do you need help with? What are the resources that I can provide for you? What is the information that you're missing, that you're lacking? I know that, as vets, we're not really taught that much about behavior medicine. I know that things are changing, but still, many of us never really had education in behavior medicine, and it's becoming such a hugely important area. So how can I help you? How can I, provide you with resources? Would talking about cases help? So we are planning on actually inviting some clients who I've worked with onto the show to share their unique stories and their unique journeys and how we've managed to help and support them, just to give other pet parents and also professionals out there an insight into how we actually practically tackle veterinary behavior cases, because they are quite an interesting category of cases. So yeah, that sense of community is really, really important to me. So you can find us on social media. We're going to share where you can find us. You can leave comments here on the podcast. Let us know what are the topics that you're really, really interested in, because I want to make sure that you want to come back every week to listen to this show and to get valuable information and tools that are going to help you. And finally, what species are we going to be talking about? So I have treated dogs, cats, birds, rabbits, horses, but essentially we can talk about any species that you might be living with that you need help with. So that could be a hamster, it could be a guinea pig, it could be a reptile. Any species really is open for discussion. But definitely the majority of cases that I have seen have been dogs and cats. And then, like I say, with some birds, rabbits, and horses included in my 400 cases as well. So that is about all that I have for the introduction. All I can say is I'm so excited to get this podcast started. In the next few episodes, I'm going to be introducing you to some of my key team members and how we work together and collaborate on these amazing cases. And as I mentioned, we're also going to be talking to clients of ours who have actually worked with us and who've gone on that journey with us. So I'm going to leave you here. It's been amazing getting this first episode out to you guys. And I can't wait to see you for the next episodes. So come on over, share, please, the episodes with all your friends that might be interested, anybody that might be interested in behavior, pet behavior medicine. And I hope to see many, many more of you very soon. All right, that's all for today. See you next time. Bye for now.